Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee for June 4th, 1994. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How you doing, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
So, we've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. Lots of people seem to be giving us encouragement. I even heard from our friend Brittany. Did you hear what Brittany had to say about our show?
No.
Oh, I'll have to show you later. She wrote a very nice note. I think she must have just put it in my locker.
Well, you know, I've said over and over, I only want the money. So.
Yeah, that's true. So, but she wrote a very nice note about the show, so I'll have to pass that on to you later. But we talk about movies, we talk about TV shows, we talk about the news of the day in entertainment. I don't know. You know what this is at this point, I think.
It's just us talking about stuff.
Everyone's tape is someone's first tape.
Okay.
The first one they've heard.
Maybe.
It's kind of like in the 60s when they did comic books and they would always talk about their powers. I'm shooting this laser beam from my eye because this comes from another dimension. Like stuff like that. And it's because every comic book is someone's first comic book.
Right, that makes sense.
Anyway, so news today. Not much news in the news today for news. So...
Wow. Are we doing a shot every time you say news?
Maybe. But, no, don't do that. We don't want to contribute to alcohol poisoning. But... they've moved The Simpsons to Sunday night, where it's been, at 8 o'clock, so that it will go up against Murder, She Wrote.
Now remind me, what time was it on before they moved it to 8 o'clock? It was earlier, right? Like 6?
I
5?
think, no, it wasn't that early.
Okay.
I think it was 7, maybe?
Because it just seems to me that The Simpsons is a cartoon, right?
It is a cartoon.
Family-friendly kind of cartoon. Ish. A lot of kids like to watch it.
Yeah.
And
it's popular with the youth, as they say.
It seems like 8 o'clock at night is cutting into bedtime for those kiddos.
How young are you talking?
I don't know. I watched it when I was a kiddo.
It's been out for it's 5 years. It's been out for 5 years.
Yeah, how old do you think I am?
I don't know. That's a very good question that a lot of people have. I don't know how old we are. So, it's going up against Murder, She Wrote. Anything to say about that?
Who cares? Who cares about Murder, She Wrote?
Old women.
Yeah, my grandma, but I don't. I mean, given the choice, I'm watching The Simpsons, but there's a whole other show that I want to watch at that time, so I wouldn't watch either one of them anyway.
You can't watch Murder, She Wrote unless you've been through menopause. Exactly. So, yeah. What's the other show that you watch?
I watch Lewis and Clark.
So, you watch the documentary about the exploration of the American West. Lewis and Clark.
Lois and Clark.
Starring Meriwether Lewis and William Clark.
No.
Featuring Sacagawea.
Shut up. Lois and Clark.
Oh, okay. That's featuring Terry Hatcher.
Yes.
That's why I watch Lois and Clark.
Which is just whatever.
What do you mean, just whatever?
I don't like thinking about you thinking about other women.
Okay. What about Dean Cain?
He's okay. I'm not watching it for him.
Well, what do you watch it for?
I watch it to see him and Terry Hatcher together. Because it's cute, watching their little love story.
Yeah. You know, okay, but you understand they can't have sex.
I do not understand that, no.
He's an alien.
So?
So, he has superpowers.
Uh-huh. Super bedroom powers.
Yeah, well, okay. So, imagine that I almost said Lewis. Imagine that Clark reaches the natural conclusion for a man for sex.
Are you afraid to say orgasm?
Now,
orgasm.
Now, what do
you... Ejaculation.
Okay, so this is health class now?
He's turning red, people.
So, his ejaculate... Don't you think that would shoot out of him like a speeding bullet?
No.
Why?
Because it's supposed to make a baby, right?
Yeah. So, with another person of his species.
So you don't make a baby like boom. You make a baby like gentle.
How many babies have you made?
I don't know. None.
Yeah, it works that way for me. I can say I have no kids that I know about. But you can't do this.
Anyways, I don't think that it would be a problem.
So you think that it's just normal strength?
I think so.
It's like regular strength sperm?
Yes.
See, I think it's maximum strength. I think it's beyond that. Maximum strength.
Well,
the amount that'll kill you. And then just taper it off a little bit.
How sad for him, though. Like, if that's true, he never gets to get laid because there's nobody else like him.
How many superheroes do you think get laid? Captain America's a virgin from the 1940s. The Incredible Hulk, anytime he gets excited or his heart rate goes up, he turns into a monster.
Really? It's not just when he's mad?
No.
Oh.
What else? Who else is there?
Batman. Batman gets laid. Batman gets laid a lot.
But Batman is a complete loner. Batman spends all of his nights on rooftops.
With Catwoman.
Okay. So, Batman might be the exception. Spider-Man, kid in high school, has no skills with women at all.
He gets married.
I guess. I don't know. I don't read the comics. I don't know.
Yeah, he gets laid.
Okay, sure.
Spider-Man and Batman get laid.
Okay, well, I guess that's why they're the two most popular.
Maybe Archie and Jughead, too. Maybe together.
Well, speaking of Archie and Jughead together, we are going to do our part to help the gay community of Michigan, or wherever you are. Come to Michigan for these guys, but come for the guys. Stay for the lakes. But that's Michigan's motto. Anyway, so we are going to segue into Massive Love, where we talk about the, whatever, the want ad sections of the newspaper. I always say the Detroit News, but it's actually the Detroit Free Press that I have the subscription to. So all this comes from the Detroit Free Press. Yeah, so if you're listening to a previous tape and then you get to this tape, just replace what I said in your mind with Detroit Free Press.
I'm sure the Free Press would love to know that you're not crediting them.
Yeah, sorry, Free Press. You're no Richard DeBrow from the LA Times, but you're something. So, anyway, here are some ads. Added attractions.
Makes no sense.
Feminine, healthy, robust white male looking for masculine, strong black male for adult fun and fantasy.
Now, let's take this apart for a minute.
All right, unpack it for us.
Okay. So, feminine, robust.
Right.
Now, unless we're talking about a bust.
Robusto, yeah.
Robust and feminine do not go together.
I agree.
So, which one are you?
Yeah, it seems that this person is a little confused, perhaps.
And then the whole added attractions thing, and the feminine thing, to me it seems like maybe they're actually feminine and they're adding in a little something.
So you think that this person is a transvestite?
Maybe.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know either, and I don't know who does, unless it means something that
this person does.
Yeah, but if they're the only one that gets it.
What if added attraction is they've added to their penis size with a penile enlargement?
Oh.
I heard about this thing where you can take some muscle from the trunk of an elephant.
What?
and implant it into your penis. A guy I knew had this done.
What?
Yeah, a guy I knew had this done. He went on a date with his new penis, and he was talking, and all of a sudden, his penis popped out of his pants.
Oh, jeez.
And grabbed a roll.
You are so ridiculous.
And went under the table.
That is so gross.
And the woman said, "Can you do that again?" And he said, "I think I can, but I don't think my ass could take another roll."
Ew.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's not a good one.
It's a good joke.
No.
It's a classic.
Never tell
It's a
that again.
classic joke.
It's gross.
Thank you, John Mendoza, for that joke. I will credit the great John Mendoza for that joke. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the added attraction is.
No.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it is someone who has taken that surgery, gone to Vienna or wherever they do that, and taken that surgery
Maybe.
to make the innie an outie.
It could be.
I don't know how they do that. I know how they do it the one way.
Yeah.
Horrifying. But I don't know how they do it the other way.
I don't know either, and I don't want to think about it because it kind of grosses me out.
Okay. So, we have an African male sought by 40... makes no sense. Okay, so someone else is seeking an African-American male sought by 46-year-old gay white male, 5'10", 178 pounds. You should be assertive and directed toward goals and building a relationship.
Now, which goals are we looking for here?
As far as I know, there's only one goal.
Right?
I guess, I don't know, they want a relationship.
And, okay, so they put African American male first because everyone wants their ad to start with A.
Apparently. Including this next guy that says, Assalamu alaikum. That's a Arabic greeting.
What in the hell?
Muslim minister
What?
seeks black male, 18 and up, to learn Islam, believe, obey God, Quran, Jesus, Bible, and establish a nation.
Wow.
What is establish a nation a euphemism for getting married?
I don't know.
This doesn't make... Okay, so there's a lot here.
Yes.
First, Assalamu alaikum.
Why?
Which, well, it starts with A.
It does.
And it's a Muslim greeting. Now, if you're looking for someone... So it's a Muslim minister. So do you think this Muslim minister is looking for a black male as a boyfriend?
I mean, why else would they post the ad here? But it doesn't... I mean, like, okay, we're talking about a Muslim minister, not a Catholic priest. I just don't imagine.
Shots fired at Catholic priests.
I just don't imagine this happening. I mean, what the Muslim minister would not go after a gay relationship.
You wouldn't think so. We just for people that don't live in our area, we have a very large Muslim American community here in Metro Detroit. Actually, from what I've read, the largest outside of the Middle East. So, not unusual, especially if you're around Dearborn, areas like that, to see places that have Muslim writing, Muslim signs and things like that.
Especially in Dearborn.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said... I'm sorry. I was still looking at the writing here. Nothing about it is sexual or romantic, aside from the fact that they're saying BM, and we're assuming that means black male. We're assuming that they're saying that they want a black male. What if it means something else?
Baltic Mediterranean. Bawdy Mediterranean. So someone from the Mediterranean.
I mean, everything in there is religious. Quran, Jesus, Bible, God. I mean, they're not talking about sex here.
That's true. But Assalamu alaikum, Muslim minister seeks BM, 18 and up, to learn Islam, believe, obey God, Quran, Jesus, Bible, and establish a nation. Where are they establishing a nation? Here? You know what's weird is every once in a while, as happened especially in the 80s, you'll see that one of these planes gets hijacked. I think it happened in the mid 80s. I think Lockerbie was one of them. There was a few different ones, but it would be some Muslim person or Arabic person that was doing like terrorism, and they'd hijack a plane and they'd try to like ransom. It usually always ended in disaster or arrest.
Right.
But I wonder, is it possible that that's what this is? Somebody looking in the free press to indoctrinate people into some sort of weird terrorism.
Honestly, I think that makes more sense than a Muslim minister looking for a gay relationship.
Yeah, because if they were looking to build a flock, why through here? Why through the
Right.
want ads? Why not in your community? Put up signs and stuff. We have a mosque, and we want people to join. We want to preach Islam.
Right.
Why wouldn't they go to prisons? That's where all the people turn Islam. But seriously, it's weird, right?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe we should say something to somebody.
I don't know. I mean, it's right there. They published it.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next one is, I'm a 28-year-old Italian male looking for a male friend and possibly more. I don't know what more could he be talking about?
Yeah.
Isn't friendship enough?
Yeah, if you're looking for more, you're not looking for a friend.
No kidding.
I mean, I could see girls genuinely meaning that, not guys.
So, in the alternative section, not to go away from the gay people. Obviously, we're gay friendly here.
Well, there might be some gay people in the alternative
We might not
section
be
anyway.
Islam, like Muslim minister friendly from that one minister. I mean, I have no problem with Muslims, but that one minister's got me a little freaked out.
Right?
Anyway, so in the alternative section, we have married black male. And then it says God-wise, love-wise, health-wise, money-wise, 4 incomes.
What the frick?
I don't know what that means. That is the weirdest parenthetical phrase I think I've ever seen. But we know right now that he's a married black male. God-wise, so he's wise to God, I guess. Love-wise, you're putting an ad in the paper. I don't know. Health-wise, money-wise, 4 incomes. I don't know what their 4 incomes are from, but desires giving single black female 18 to 19.
What? How old is this person?
True love and everlasting companionship.
No.
So here's my question. Is this guy looking for someone for him and his wife? Because he's saying true love and everlasting companionship. You can't really promise those things if you're keeping it a secret from your wife.
Right.
Plus, you're not very God-wise, love-wise, and the 4 incomes thing. Do they both have 2 jobs? Or is this a guy with 3 wives already that are all working and they're looking to add a 4th?
Maybe. I mean, that's really messed up.
18 to 19, that's when you get them too.
Oh.
That's when you indoctrinate them in when they don't know any better.
Oh, this is not good.
This is the way of life.
We should call someone on this one too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Married couple seeking bi female to fulfill husband's fantasy won't be disappointed.
Must be clean.
Yeah, always clean.
All clean.
All calls answered. What does that mean, though, won't be disappointed? Does that mean we won't be disappointed? Is that a threat? We won't be disappointed.
Yeah, they don't know what anybody else is looking for, so how can they promise not to disappoint them?
Right.
Yeah, weird.
Is that just saying if you're looking for... Are they trying to say that they're hot?
I guess. But if they're hot, then why are they advertising in here?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Go down to your local flea market or whatever. Find an 18 or 19-year-old, because that's when you get them. That's what everyone's looking for, because that's when you indoctrinate them into whatever weird crap you want to do.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so that is massive love for the week.
I don't know. That doesn't seem like love. That was massive weirdness to me.
Well, the first ones, the gay ones, seemed like love. Although it's weird that every white gay man is looking for someone who's not white.
Right? Isn't it? And that's why they're all looking, because they don't want each other.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
What's wrong with gay white men? What do black, Asian, and Middle Eastern gay men have that white gay men don't?
Oh, don't forget Hispanic.
Hispanic too, yeah. Well, they're muy caliente.
But you know, I mean, I was gonna initially make a big penis joke because, you know, there's so many looking for black men, but the one guy wants an Asian man.
Ouch.
So it can't be that.
Shots fired at the Asian community. Usually it's my job to offend every race, ethnicity, nationality.
Hey, we gotta trade off once in a while.
All right. But yeah, so weird. The whole thing's weird.
Yeah, I feel a little skeevy right now.
Yeah, but we'll do it again next week. So, speaking of skeevy, 90210 this week, episode 2.
Yeah, so we got to watch the second half of the pilot.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it was a 2-part episode.
Oh, that makes sense to why it just went to all the things. So
To all the things, yeah.
So when it went to the theme song or whatever at the beginning of the tape, well, not the beginning of the tape, but after the first part that we watched. Okay, that makes sense. All right, because they do it on the tape how it would air. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting episode this week. You know, it's so funny watching it now rather than watching it initially because, like, Brandon just attracts weird, complicated women.
Absolutely.
And Brenda just gets herself in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it was happening again. Like, okay, Brandon.
They've established this early on.
Yes.
Still no Luke Perry.
No.
And very little that guy I don't care about. David Silver.
Yeah. Oh, we remembered his real name. Good job.
And, yeah, Brian Austin Green.
Yeah.
And no Tori Spelling.
She's there. Why do you not see her?
She was in this episode too?
Yes.
What the hell? She has no lines.
Yes,
She's like glorified extra.
She talked to Kelly. She is not very prominent, but she's like with Kelly frequently. Whenever Kelly is socializing and it's not with Brenda, it's with Donna.
Well, I don't see her. I'll tell you.
I forgot to point her out to you.
She fades into the background of every episode.
No, but
She's allowed to do that because, as you pointed out last week, her head has not grown yet. So she can just fade into the background. I guess I probably just keep looking for a giant nose, and it's not there.
I wonder if she had a botched nose job.
Yeah, I made that joke last week.
You did?
Sort of.
Oh my.
I said if she had a reverse nose
Right.
job.
But okay, so Brenda, we left last time, and I don't know if I even remember to mention this, that she was sneaking into a club with her friends.
Yeah, fake ID.
And she got in, and they didn't let the girls in.
They didn't let Kelly in.
Yeah.
Because Kelly looks too young, apparently.
Which is funny, because Brenda looks much younger than Kelly.
I agree.
So they let Brenda in, but they wouldn't let her friends in, so she's in this club by herself, which is just a bad situation. And some guy comes up and starts talking to her, and that was how the episode ended, was her in this club.
Right. Sort of. That's not the last thing that happened in the episode, but yeah.
But,
that's how her storyline ended.
Yeah. So it picks up this week, she's in the club with this guy, and does the stupid thing, and gets in a car with the strange man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, I mean, I wouldn't do that.
Well, the episode opens with Brandon and Monica. Is that her name?
No.
Something.
Oh, man, they said it so many times in this episode, too.
Her last name started with an M.
No, I thought her first name did. It was like...
Well, then it was probably Monica.
But it wasn't Monica. It was like a couple names, like Marie something. Mariana?
Marie Callender.
Marie... It was not Marie Mariana.
Marianas Trench.
Whatever.
So, Marianas Trench.
The
and
rich
him,
girl that he was talking to at her party last week.
Right. They're making out in her hot tub.
Yes. Yeah, she invited him over. And she's offering herself up to him.
Yeah.
How this happens to this boy all the time. I mean, even, years later when we're watching the, college years, he keeps saying no to sex. He's saying no to sex. He's starting now.
Yeah. Starting early, saying no to sex. But, yeah, she basically, and he says, why aren't you playing hard to get?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
like that.
I don't know why he's shooting himself in the foot, but, well, what do you mean? What do you not like about it?
That it's like the script that women have to play hard to get. That, we're not allowed to want sex.
I like how he's explaining it to her, too. This is how to be a woman. Because I understand.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, her virtue is protected by him, not by her. It is weird. I didn't think about it that way, but it is weird.
But, I mean, yeah, basically she's saying, no matter how she acts, she's always acting wrong. Like, people want her to be more outgoing and she's too quiet, or they want her to be more quiet and she's too outgoing, and, like, she just doesn't know how to be.
Yeah.
And so he's basically telling her how to be. It was very, very weird interaction, but they made out a lot in the hot tub, but he did not sleep with her. And,
So you can get back to Brenda now.
Okay. Brenda goes off with the guy, and she tells him she doesn't have a phone when he asks for her phone number, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Who doesn't have a phone?
Seriously.
Unless you're a street urchin, you have a phone.
Right.
And she lies and tells him that she's living in a sorority house.
Because he thinks she goes to UCLA.
Right. And she actually says that she's a transfer from Minnesota and that their whole sorority are transfers from Minnesota, which is, like, stupid and ridiculous. He must just really want her to be...
I'm telling you that only horny men believe these lies.
Yeah. So he drops her off in front of a library that she at first says is her sorority house.
It was a church.
Yeah, and then he's like, that's a church. She's like, oh, no, it's right next to it.
And it is. I mean, to be fair to her, the Phi Bi Fo or whatever house, the Phi Phi Fo Fum house, was right next to it.
And it does give her the cover to, on their second date, be able to say that her house mother... Or no, this was her first date. The first date when he was trying to sleep with her. Because I forgot about it. He took her back to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took her to his apartment. And it was a really nice apartment.
Yeah.
It turns out he's a lawyer, so, he's got money. He's got a...
25-year-old lawyer.
Yeah.
Making money. Because, he didn't have to intern or do any kind of, he didn't have to, what, they don't call it clerking, but associate. He didn't have to, in the reality of law school, he would have basically just graduated law school, and he'd be like a first-year associate, basically making no money.
Right. Well, yeah, and also it's Beverly Hills, though, so, I mean, he probably would make a little bit more money. Like, we're thinking about people around here. Maybe.
I mean, but first year, associates, partners, they make a lot of money in law firms, but the associates, they don't make what you think they make. They're not rich.
Right. But she has gone back to the strange man's house, and they're making out, and he starts trying to take off her clothes.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you doing? Taking off our clothes. Like, hello, she's 15, 16 years old,
16, but yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, I can't do this because my house mother's really strict and I have to be back soon.
Well, she said, yeah, and she says she has to be back soon. He says, oh, don't worry, Cinderella, I'll get you home by midnight, which I don't know how late it is at this point, but doesn't really speak well to his bedroom prowess. I'll be quick, don't worry. But
just bend over, you won't feel a thing.
But she says no, and he respects that and stops.
Kind of. I mean, they still keep kissing.
Yeah, but he doesn't go any further.
Right.
And he, he says that he'll go whatever pace she wants to go at, basically.
Yeah, which at first I honestly thought was a line, but he does stick to that. And then he takes her out again.
With his friends.
Yeah. So now she's at a dinner with other adult people who want to ask her questions about her schooling. What's your major? What does she say? Astrology. No,
Nope.
astronomy.
Yeah, she says she's majoring in astrology, and that the moon of Vega is, I don't know,
Oh, shut up.
Pisces. I don't know astrology.
No, astronomy. So then they're like, oh, that's a lot of math, isn't it? And then they ask her.
Astrology is a lot of math too, isn't it?
Yes.
You go into to that, right?
A little bit. And yes, it is a lot of math. Now shut up.
Yeah. And very valid.
It is.
Uh-huh.
It explains you.
Right, because it's not just a bunch of vague things that could apply to a multitude of people.
You are such a Scorpio.
You know, here's the thing about, what are you, you're not Gemini.
I'm a Gemini.
Gemini, okay, yeah. Here's the thing about Geminis, though. Geminis are deeply spiritual people. They believe in the forces that work around them, and the things that some people
Would you stop with
can't
the
explain.
bullshit?
No, I'm just listening. That some people can't explain. They're very in touch with the earth. You like to laugh. You like family. You like relationships. You like to be connected to people.
Would you please
you're shaking
stop?
shaking your head.
Wasting air.
You're shaking your head like all this stuff is wrong, but it could apply to anyone out there.
I know exactly what you're doing, but you're not saying the things that define someone as a Gemini.
Okay, what defines me as a Scorpio?
Your like hard exterior shell, and you're ready to sting. I mean that is you're based off a Scorpion. And it's true. I mean, God, I love you because you let me in there, but you have the hard shell. It is difficult to get in. And, you make it hard.
Yeah. I thought that was your job.
Ha, ha, ha.
So it's difficult to get in. Now, couldn't that apply to a lot of people?
A lot, but not everybody. Just like the duality of a Gemini does not apply to everyone.
So what's your duality?
I change my mind. You know this. I change my mind all the time. And I can go from one extreme to another.
I thought that's just to find you as a woman.
Oh. Let's get back to 90210 here, all right?
Okay.
So, yeah, he's actually a pretty nice guy. And he's taken her to dinner to meet his friends. They ask her what should be a simple question for an astrologer.
An astronomer.
God
Not
dang
an
it.
astrologer. And
Which is, what is a black hole?
wow.
Now-
you are not an astrologer or an astronomer.
No, I am not.
What's a black hole?
Well, I'm trying to remember what you told me it was, because I certainly don't know. It is a star that has, like, caved in on itself.
Kind of, yeah. Collapsed star.
And its gravitational pull is so big that nothing escapes it, including light, which is why they call it a black hole.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's basically it, yes. So
Yay.
you described it, and she couldn't.
I win a cookie. Yeah, but I didn't know till you told me. She doesn't know you.
When a star's so massive, it has to be a large star. And it supernovas, it implodes on itself. And, yeah, its gravitational force is so great that nothing can escape it. So, as you approach it, you can sort of see the imprint of it. This is all theorized, because no one's ever actually seen a black hole. So this is all theorized.
Right.
But astronomers can see the effects of there are different parts in the universe where they think a black hole is probably here. A black hole is probably here because they can see the effects of it, the gravitational effects of the things around it. So that's why they theorize that they're out there. And yeah, nothing can escape it because the gravitational force is so great. And if you get close enough, you'd be able to see, theoretically, the event horizon. And the event horizon is basically the point of no return. If you pass that point, it doesn't matter what you do, you can't escape.
Right.
Because light can't even escape.
Okay, so she says that it is a basically a hole in space.
Right. That's black.
Now, luckily, they don't know the answer to the question they have asked her.
Mm-hmm.
So she can get away with it, but it's bad.
A bunch of morons talking to another moron.
Yeah.
That's what this dinner is.
So she, makes out with him more in his car.
Yep.
Lies to him some more.
It looks like she says stop again, because it looks like, I guess he's just trying to get lucky in the car at this point.
Yeah. And then he tells her to come up with something because she's spending the night Friday. He doesn't even ask. He's like, you're spending the night Friday.
I think he's trying to be cool and assertive.
Right. He's trying to get laid.
Yeah, well, of course.
So now she has this huge problem of trying to figure out how to handle this because...
It's going to be the third date,
Yeah.
So that is traditionally the sex date.
I don't remember ever hearing anything like that.
Really?
Really?
Because that's been around for a long time.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I don't remember ever hearing it. When did you hear it? When did you learn this? Because I gotta tell you, we've been on a hell of a lot more than 3 dates.
Yeah, we have.
And we were on a lot more.
I don't know what you're trying
than
to...
3 dates.
I don't know what you're trying to imply. But, yeah, we've been on more than 3 dates. So take that as you will.
I'm just saying.
What?
I mean, it was more than 3 dates. And I don't think that most people have sex on the 3rd date.
Well, I'm talking about the adult world. I'm talking about, like, if you're 25 like he is, that's the expectation.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the 80s, sometimes even sooner.
What?
Yeah. There was a whole movie called Casual Sex way back when.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. It goes through all the rules. I'll show it to you later.
That seems wrong. Anyway.
3 dates.
3 dates.
Traditional.
So he is telling her they're having sex Friday.
Yep.
So now she's
Get your
got to figure it
diaphragm
out.
ready, because it's happening.
Oh, and I forgot about the cutest high schooly girl part of this was when she called him from the payphone
Yes.
at school with all her friends around so they could hear his voice on his answering machine.
Yeah.
And then she calls him at work. And when they're like, oh, transferring your call, they all laugh and giggle because it's like a grown-up thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, very fancy. He has an answering machine.
And a secretary.
Do you have an answering machine?
Yeah? Doesn't everybody have an answering machine?
Well, some people still don't.
This...
My friend Bill doesn't have an answering machine.
Why?
Well, there's some people that don't have answering machines.
I guess
now.
they just don't care about when people are trying to reach them.
Bill doesn't have a pager either. So when he's out, you can't get a hold of him. You can't page him. He doesn't know to use the payphone. It's what?
He doesn't know to use a payphone?
Well, that's what a pager's for.
What is wrong with him? Is he mentally damaged?
No, I'm not saying he doesn't know how to use a payphone. I'm saying if I wanted to get a hold of you, I would page you 911 because it's always 911, and you'd go to a payphone and you'd call my house.
Yes.
He doesn't know to do that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't even have a pager to begin with.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, he's
Okay.
pagerless.
But what you do then
It's $15 down at Circuit City or whatever.
What you do then is you go to the places where you think you might be.
Yeah, that's what I've had to do before.
Yeah.
Drive around. Where you at?
Isn't that kind of fun?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so back to 90210. So Brendan apparently really...
Brandon is still his name.
Really impressed this girl. Because she sent him... And what girl would do this to a high school boy? A dozen long stem red roses to class.
I'm assuming this is another Beverly Hills thing.
I mean, wouldn't you be embarrassed if I did that to you?
Yes. There is that one day of the year in school where everyone sends each other flowers.
Right.
The sweetheart flower thing or whatever. But aside from that, yes, it would be embarrassing.
Yeah, and I mean, especially a dozen. I mean, like one flower would be better than that.
Sure.
So everyone assumes that he must have really rocked her world.
Right.
And
they start asking him questions about it.
And I'm sorry, I feel like this is her fault for doing this.
Yeah, a little.
And then he doesn't deny it.
He says they're running in the track. I assume for gym class.
Right.
And they say, so, what happened with you guys? I saw the roses. What happened? And he says, let's just say that I did something with her that neither one of you could handle.
Which was true.
Yeah.
I think he said most men couldn't handle.
Yeah.
Which is true, because what he did was resisted her.
Yep, he did.
So, that is an impressive
I'm
thing.
going to tie your hands.
That just came out of nowhere?
I'm going to tie your hands to the chair.
Why?
Because every 5 seconds, you're hitting the microphone. Bang, bang, bang. Talk with your hands more than an Italian. I'm going to tie him to the chair.
Alrighty
later. Tell your house mother that you won't be home. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
I don't know. Now I'm all distracted because you're talking about tying me up.
Yeah.
Okay, the roses and the
Okay, so yeah,
hot
so
tub
he says that he did something that most men couldn't handle, which I guess technically is true because he didn't have sex with her when he could have. But they of course all take that as, it was wild or whatever.
Right.
And then he's getting a drink at the water fountain, and some random guy just passes by and says, "Hey, I heard you scored with Marianne or Marianas Trench or whatever her name is. I heard you got into Marianas Trench."
Oh my god.
So, he says congratulations.
Wow. Yeah.
But the funniest part is that they have a radio station, which some high schools do. Our high school is not affluent enough to have one,
right?
But some do. It's KWBH, K West Beverly High, and they're allowed for some reason from the staff of this school. But we'll get into that in a minute. What the staff of the school's up to,
right?
They're allowed for some reason to announce a wild thing, like the Wild Thing Club or something like that, and they read off some names. And then the guy says, and the newest members, or whatever, Brandon Walsh and Marianas Trench. And, it's just they're, announcing these people have had sex.
Right.
It's weird.
It is weird. I don't think that any high school would really allow that. Although.
But, yeah, the Spanish teacher comes in, is called into the principal's office.
Because he wants to talk to her about how hard she's making her class.
Right. He sits down.
She decides to make him hard.
He sits down right next to her.
Knees are touching.
Instead of getting, across the desk. And he basically says, there's a lot of no comprende going on in your class. And, you need to change things up a little bit. And she says that in order to learn Spanish, you have to live Spanish, you have to breathe Spanish, you have to touch Spanish, and she takes his hand and puts it over her heart, over her chest. Mm-hmm. And you can see, he's quite taken.
Yeah.
So she says, let's check back in a month, and we'll see how they're doing then, how the students are doing then, see if they've got it then. And, basically just, using that as, hey, just give me more time.
Yeah.
And then he says, how about Friday for dinner? And apparently she agrees. So it's very, very quick, but they try to get the adults in here, too, with the soap opera-y stuff.
She just manipulated the hell out of him. I mean, if he'd had blood in his brain, he would have realized what she was doing, but
right.
He didn't, so.
Yeah, it's, and, like I told you, teachers can date each other. I think that's fine. But the principal dating a teacher, he's the boss, technically. It seems inappropriate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that happens. And then Brandon goes into school, into the hallway. Word has spread like wildfire. And we see Marianas Trench at the end of the hall. And I thought Brian De Palma was going to take over the directing of this. And like in Carrie, just, quick cut in to a close-up of her face. all pissed off and stuff. But they walk towards each other, and she basically tells him off, says, "I trusted you. How could you do this to me?"
She punched him.
Yeah.
First thing she does is punch him.
Punched him in the stomach, right?
You knew that was going to happen, though, as she was walking. I knew she was going to hit him. I was imagining a slap in the face, but, a gut punch works.
Yeah, that would have been more traditional, slap in the face. But probably harder to film. Easier to film her fake punching him in the chest or the stomach.
I don't know, though. I still think that it's kind of her fault with those flowers. She started the rumors.
But he should have just said we didn't do anything. Like I told you, we were watching it.
Would you?
He should, yeah, absolutely. I don't give a crap.
Every guy in school is like, hey, that's awesome.
Do you know me at all?
Yeah.
I don't care what they think in any way. So, yeah, I would have said, and maybe this is just me, but I would have said exactly what I told you when we were watching the episode. I would have said, no, I didn't do anything. I treated her with respect, like a lady, because, that's how she's supposed to be treated, and we like each other.
Yeah.
So I didn't. So nothing's happened yet. That's what I would have said, because I don't care if everyone's like, "Oh, you're lame" and stuff. Okay, it's a shit.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I think he should have done.
And so then he tries to make it better by going on this radio show and fessing up.
Yep.
He tells everybody, nothing happened, and that, he's embarrassed for the way he acted and all that stuff, and that she deserves better.
Right.
And she still doesn't want to date him or anything.
Well, she says that she's going to try staying in this weekend.
Right.
And he says, "What about next weekend?" And she says, "Call me." So
We'll
I
see.
think we're going to see more of Mariana's Trench.
We'll see.
Down
I don't know.
the line.
I think he blew it. I think he permanently blew it, and she's just being nice because he tried.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But he does follow Andrea home.
Yes.
Because he's trying to tell Andrea. Apparently, it sounds like there's something going on between the two of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, Andrea was very upset about the fact that he was telling everyone that he slept with this girl.
He thought she was different. Or she thought he was different.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's very disappointed in him. Yeah, I think she has a crush on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he reciprocates that.
Well.
I mean, he did follow her home.
She does look like his mom.
Right? But yeah, so he follows her home to try to talk to her because she won't talk to him, and finds out that she does not live in the school district.
No, she lives far from Beverly Hills. Well, they don't say where, but it looked like Encino to me.
Yeah, she takes the public transit bus to her home. So.
And teaches Spanish to everyone on the bus on the way home.
No, I don't think she was teaching Spanish. I think she was practicing Spanish because, I mean, they looked Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
So I think they were helping her.
I'm colorblind, so I don't see race.
Whatever.
No, I'm sure they were, but I didn't really notice.
So they now have a secret. He promises that he won't tell anybody.
Do you think this is the start of the whatever bond they have between the two of them?
Yes.
Because remember, Kelly wanted her approval to go after in the season finale of the season that just ended that we watched.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely she's on the paper and he's on the paper, and she's kind of becoming one of his better friends rather quickly, even though it's a weird relationship. Yeah,
they sort of allude to the fact that he and Steve talk a lot, but they're not super good friends yet.
Yeah.
They every once in a while they're talking to each other.
Yeah, speaking of Steve, the only thing that really goes on with him this episode is he is literally passing out pamphlets in the hall or flyers in the hall asking people $50 to tell him who drove his car.
Yeah, he wants to find David.
The kid that crashed his car. So then he had I still don't understand what happened with this car.
So I think what he did is he has an alarm to the car and he has it hooked up to his pager somehow. I don't know how. But when the alarm starts going off, because David was looking for something, I don't know what.
The cap. He had borrowed his friend's hat.
Oh, and he was looking for the hat.
His friend's had his name inside of the hat.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to get it back because otherwise his friend was going to get his ass beat.
Gotcha. So they're looking for it in the car. He has a Jimmy where he unlocks the Corvette that Steve drives somehow.
Like every freshman walks around with,
right.
car stealing tools.
Yeah, exactly. It was ridiculous. But especially in Beverly Hills.
Right.
You know, they're known for car thievery there. Anyway, so they get in there, and then Steve jumps out because the pager starts going off because his and he just stands up in class and basically says "aha" and runs out of class. No one says anything about that.
Right.
They're just like, oh, okay, that's just Steve. So he gets down there and he thinks it's the other kid, the kid who disappears at some point in the show, replaced by Luke Perry.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to kill you or whatever. And David says, no, it was me. And he says, you know, they start chasing. It's interesting camera work, like it's being filmed from a blimp because it's a head-on view,
yeah,
like an Atari game or something. And they're chasing each other around the car, and he says, oh, if I have to work at McDonald's for the rest of my life to pay you off, I'll pay you back and everything. And so Steve finally, you know, relents and leaves. And his buddy's like, oh, that's the studliest thing I've ever seen. What, running away from him and begging to pay him off?
Now, first, honestly, I thought he could have been talking about Steve.
I don't think so, but...
And the other thing, he could have been being sarcastic.
I don't think so. I think he meant that David standing up to him was supposed to be Studley.
Okay. But like I said...
Weird thing to say to your male friend.
Right.
Hey, I think there's some people in the classifieds that might be interested.
But like I said earlier, he looks like a puppy.
Yes.
Like, I'm looking at his face when he's in college versus now. It's like the difference of a puppy that grew into, like, a St. Bernard.
Yeah.
Because he's got this, like, shrunken, cute little face, and he looks so cute, and you just want to pinch his little cheeks. And then...
He looks very young.
And then he grows up, and his head gets all big, and he doesn't look cute anymore.
Yeah.
His head almost matches Donna's.
Maybe that's why they dated.
Right?
They both wanted someone they could find in a crowd. So they gravitated towards each other.
Brenda. Let's finish up with Brenda, because I think that's the last really bit of the story we have here.
Yeah, nothing really happened with Kelly.
Well, the one thing that we do learn about Kelly is just that her mom is a bee.
Yeah, her mom's some sort of party girl.
Yeah, Brenda calls her at 6 a.m., and her mom comes to yell at Kelly for someone calling in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And says, you know, we have our deal where I do my thing and you do your thing and we don't bother each other. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, what kind of mom?
Have her call in the morning.
Yeah. So 6 a.m. is the middle of the night. Okay, so Brenda ends up going, she's talking to Kelly and she tells her that she thinks that she loves this guy and that she wants to sleep with him. So he takes her out to dinner and they're talking and she's like, I can tell you anything, right? Oh... No, Brenda, you can't. Mm-hmm. So she tells him that she's a junior.
Right.
I thought she was a sophomore, but she's a junior.
16-year-old junior.
At West Beverly High.
And he's quite angry.
Oh, very, very angry. The waiter comes up and asks if she wants more wine while they're talking. He's like, why don't you check her ID?
Yeah. Or is that fake, too, he says. Best acting in the entire episode is that waiter with no lines stands there for a second in this awkwardness and then just sort of spins away. And it is the best comedic timing I've ever seen. Hilarious.
Yeah, so he drives her home and that's that. That is the end of the 25-year-old lawyer.
Well, wait a second, because she's crying.
Yeah.
She's saying, my feelings haven't changed, all this stuff. He's angry. You know, well, let's see what happens. Yeah. Let's see what happens when someone that you care about lies to you, blah, blah, blah. He's all pissed off at her. And then she says, and to think I was going to sleep with you tonight. And then he's pulling up to her house and he's like, wait, Brenda, wait a second. Wait, let's talk about this. Let me walk you to the door, yeah, let's talk about this. And, so I don't know if it's going to be the end of him or not. We'll see. But once he heard that, his tone changed a lot.
I don't think he would have slept with her.
I don't necessarily think he would have either, but I think part of the reason he was mad is he's because like, well, nothing's going to happen with this kid.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, he put in solid 3 dates or whatever.
Right.
He bought her a couple fancy meals.
Yeah. He definitely paid for it, so he should get it.
Ugh.
That's what you're saying.
No, I'm talking about. I don't believe that. I'm just saying. I think that's what he's thinking.
Yeah, I agree, probably. But that's where the episode ends. So we will pick it up next week.
Yep.
Some interesting stuff to think about here. So this week we saw The Crow.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid film. What did you think?
I thought it was absolutely terrible.
Really?
Thought it was a pretty solid film, huh?
I did.
Okay, so I guess I'll go through the plot of this pretty solid film, what the plot is anyway, and you can tell me why you thought it was good.
Okay.
So it starts off with a murder scene where a woman is clinging to life and a guy is presumably dead, although we don't really get to see him that well. And there's a detective, Winston Zettermore from the Ghostbusters is there, and it's really him this time too, by the way, Ernie Hudson. And he is he's acting like a detective, but he's not a detective, he's a sergeant, which I pointed out while we were watching the movie. And it turns out he used to be a detective, so that at least makes sense. They said he gave up his shield, but it sounds like from later in the movie that he was forced to stop being a detective.
Yeah, it sounds like he got in trouble.
And there is no explanation ever as to why.
Well, the very vague explanation of he was sticking his nose in where it didn't belong. Basically.
To what, though?
But isn't that their job?
Did it have anything to do with the villain that we were talking about? Was it an unrelated crime? No one knows.
Right.
This movie takes place in Detroit, which they allude to a couple times. It's not super out there, but in Detroit, and I think some areas too, although not every area in the country I know calls it this, we have a thing called Devil's Night, which is the day before Halloween, the day after my birthday. And they set a lot of fires and things like that. In the 80s especially, this was a big problem, like an actual problem in the city of Detroit, with a lot of arson on Devil's Night.
I remember being, like, scared.
Yeah, well, sometimes, yeah. But anyway, so, murder scene, she goes to the ambulance, and there's a little girl there named... she narrates...
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah, right? She narrates the movie, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean any offense to, this kid. One of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life. Every line is delivered. She's more wooden than Pinocchio in this film. Very bad. Always like, I thought you cared about me. Well, screw you then. And walks off.
I think that she's really depressed. And I think that, the lack of emotion and inflection and stuff is, like, because she's just so used to nothing mattering.
So her character is clinical depression. Okay. Whatever. So, anyway, she says, they used to take care of me. You lied to her about... Because the woman asked if her fiancé, they were going to get married. They found a wedding invitation. If her fiancé was okay before she gets put in the ambulance. And he says, don't worry about him.
Yeah. I don't think that that's a lie, really.
No, he's just saying, hey, don't worry. He's dead. Don't worry about him.
Right?
But so she gets taken away, and she's like, you lied to her. And he said, I had to. And she said, and you're lying to me about her. She's going to die too, isn't she? And he said, I don't know. She's probably going to be okay. Whatever. Gives her a hug. And then it's a year later. Although it's not exactly a year later, as we learn, because Devil's Night's not yet. Unless this all takes place over one incredibly long night.
I think it does.
All right, well, that's weird then. So, this crow, name of the movie, starts flying around, and we hear the narration gives some bullshit explanation as to every once in a while a crow will take your soul and give you whatever the powers of the crow are. I don't know. You can heal yourself and stuff. I don't know what it is. But he starts pecking at the gravesite, and it opens up. He comes out. It's Brandon Lee. By the way, I hate to kick this movie a lot because I know it's the movie that Brandon Lee gave his life to make, but it is terrible. And I have to be honest.
It's not terrible.
It's a very bad movie.
It's just not your kind of movie.
But it's also bad.
I disagree.
As I'll point out.
Okay.
So, he comes out of the grave. He goes back to his old apartment. And, there's still crime scene tape up, which I guess is Detroit.
That's definitely Detroit.
But he goes in and it's all messed up and everything. That cat is still alive somehow. And incredibly clean.
Yeah.
It's a white cat with no dirt on it at all. That has to have been crawling in corners and killing mice and things like that to survive. So he puts on some makeup and some goth clothes like you do. When you're going to avenge yourself on people, you got to dress the part. And he starts having flashbacks as he's touching all these things of what happened. And here's a major part of the movie. Here's a major problem with the movie. I don't care.
What?
I don't care about their relationship. I don't care about them. I don't care about anything because you can't build characterization and relationships through a 1 minute long series of flashbacks. That's the biggest problem with the movie. I don't care about her. I don't care about him. What they needed to do was start this movie earlier. They needed to start this movie, establish their relationship, establish their connection, establish what they were trying to do instead of making it a mystery, then have her raped and killed and him killed. Then I'd care. But they didn't do any of that. They figured we can establish characterization through 1 minute long of 5-second each flashback sequences showing their life together and the brutal crime that ended their lives. It doesn't have any effect on me. There's not enough time to form any kind of connection there. I don't care.
You're just a cold and heartless person.
I'm not cold and heartless. The movie didn't earn me caring about it.
No, I'll tell you this. What you said convinced me that it could have been better.
Yes.
That would have made it a better movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I did care. Let
me ask you a question.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, his fiance. Mm-hmm. Do you remember her name? Shelley. What was she like?
She was a caring person.
Okay. So give me besides the one thing that the movie tells us she did, the two things that the movie tells us she did, the little girl and the other thing that's, for some stupid reason, a plot mystery. Give me any other examples of why she was caring. What did she do for a living? What was her personality like?
How can I answer your questions? You just said only the two things that the movie told us, so I can't make stuff up.
Oh, so use those things. What was her personality like? What were her likes and dislikes? What was her relationship with, what's his name like? The Crow, whatever his name was.
Okay, so she liked candles.
Okay. So she's a lot like you. All
and
right.
They were getting married on Halloween.
The director likes candles, yeah. Okay.
So, that tells me that, Halloween's, important to them.
Okay.
She likes rock and roll. Because her boyfriend was a rock and roll artist.
That's an assumption, but okay.
Well, why would she be dating a guy and she doesn't like his music?
Maybe she didn't, maybe that was a cause of friction in their relationship. I don't know.
Whatever.
What I'm saying is we don't know her. I don't know anything about her. The only thing I know about her is that she was willing to help look after a kid in the neighborhood, and she wanted to help people in the building that she lived in, including herself. So she seems like she was probably a good person, but I don't know anything else about her. There's nothing to connect to. So I don't care that she died. It's just like they could show, someone on the street corner getting mugged and killed. And it's like, yeah, I'd feel bad because it's another human being getting killed, but I don't have an emotional connection to that. The whole heart of this movie is the vengeance, the revenge. These guys did something evil. He wants to exact revenge. The whole motivation upon that, and the reason the crow gives him the powers, is the love he has of this woman. I don't see any of that. You know, they tell us a couple times of things that they did. They tell us that she, you know, took care of this kid. They tell us that she wanted to stand up for people's rights. They tell us that they loved each other. They don't show any of it. Not in any significant way that we can latch onto and emotionally connect to these characters and really root for him. And for most of the movie, he's completely indestructible, meaning that any danger he's in, I don't care about, because I know he's not going to get killed. I know he's in no danger, because several times people shoot him point blank, and the crow powers just heal it up. So it's like, why do I care? He's not in any danger, and I don't have any emotional connection to their story.
Do you know what I think part of the problem is, though, is that you spent the first, 10, 15, 20 minutes of the movie actively making fun of it out loud, which may have prevented you and other moviegoers from being able to form an emotional connection to the movie.
It's not there. It's just not there. It doesn't exist in the film. They didn't put it in the movie.
But like you said, just seeing... Here's the thing. You can say, oh, that would be sad, but I don't feel anything. To me, watching someone get killed, especially watching a woman get raped and killed, it does emotionally do something to me, whether I care specifically about that individual or not.
But that's not enough. That fleeting kind of caring, because and that's the thing. That's the fight of fiction. We all know that this is fake. We all know this didn't happen. If I saw something like that happen in real life, obviously I wouldn't need to know the person because it's really happening. It would be high emotional stakes. But in a movie, you know, you can get... There are two different kinds of connections that a screenwriter and a director can make for a film. Surface level, like kill a puppy level. You know, you kill a puppy, everyone's sad and angry about that. That's very surface level stuff. Deep emotional connections, those take time to develop and build, because you have to get to know the people in order to form those bonds, to get over the fact that you know it's just a movie, right? Surface level stuff's fine for some things, but this thing drives the entire plot of the film, and we need a deep connection in order to make that resonate. That's the big failing of this movie. They don't take the time to set up those characters to form that connection to drive the plot of the film.
Okay.
Other than that, it's just spectacle. And I mean, that's all this movie is. All this movie is surface. There's nothing underneath it.
Okay.
Even the biggest relationship that's formed is the one between the crow and Ernie Hudson. Probably.
Yeah.
We see some connection between the little girl and Ernie Hudson, but that's another thing that we don't see much of. He helps take care of her now too.
Yeah, because he was impacted by the fact that he knew they took care of her and they died.
Right.
So he stepped in.
Yeah, and we get to know his character a little more, and
yeah.
That's the character in the movie I cared the most about.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because we got to know him a little bit more. But even he doesn't have a ton of screen time in this.
Right.
So, I mean, basically, it's your standard revenge story. And that's the thing, too, is we need that, because the story's so standard, we need that emotional connection to make it resonate more, and it just doesn't exist there. But it's a standard revenge story. 4 guys broke into their apartment. Apparently, the whole thing was, whatever this guy is, this, evil guy that rules over the entire city somehow, which is never fully explained, working with the Candyman, he ordered their apartment building to be swept and cleaned, whatever that means. I don't know if he owned the apartment building. I don't know if he wanted to tear it down to build something else. There's no motivation beyond the fact that he said, yeah, I ordered that to happen.
Right.
And apparently what they were supposed to do, these 4 underlings, is go in there, scare people out, and, clear the building. They went in to scare them out. I guess they put signs on the door that said, it was the health department was, there were violations and things like that. So they were going to have to be evicted and everything, and they didn't heed it. And so what they were supposed to do is come in there and scare her. And what they did was they came in there, saw she was pretty or whatever. I don't know, because we don't really we don't get any more than cuts. Quick cuts.
Yeah, we don't know how it went down.
Not that I want to see the rape.
No.
But, the whole incident is all just quick cuts. So they intimidate her and everything like that. They say later, as they're getting hunted down, that he came in and that's why everything went south. Because he came in, they threw a knife at him, and then they decided they were going to rape and kill her and kill him. And that's what they did. And so his whole thing for this night is to hunt them down and kill them one by one, which he does. And then he ends up killing the guy responsible for it, too. And Tony Todd got away, didn't he? I don't remember. The Candyman.
I don't think so.
I can't remember his death scene.
I don't think any of them got away.
Well, the rest of the plot of the movie is he goes through and hunts them down one by one, kind of detective style, tracks them down, and kills them. It's sort of like Batman, but much more violent.
It's weird, though, because he, knows their names.
Yeah, I don't understand what he knows and what he doesn't know. He somehow, he has whatever the powers of the Crow are, I don't know. But he knows their names and knows some things about them, but doesn't know other things about them. And he stops at a pawn shop where they pawn things. He gets the ring back that he gave to his fiance, and he blows up the pawn shop and goes and finds the first guy, kills him with knives. Everyone gets killed in a way that was related to what they did bad in life. Like, one guy gets killed with knives and he played with knives. The other guy gets burned into his car and he was the arsonist. One guy gets... How's the second guy get killed? I'm trying to remember.
In a bathtub.
Oh, yeah, drugs. So he drugged him because he was a big drug guy. And he was sleeping with the little girl's mom.
Yeah, that was so weird.
And making her into a drug addict, which apparently the Crow fixed. Because the Crow touched her arm and morphine started pouring out of her arm.
That was kind of cool. I liked that scene.
It was a cool effect. And he said something like, what did he say? The word that children use for gods is mother. Or something like that.
Something like that.
That was kind of a cool line. And he said, you understand what I mean? And she goes back and becomes a better mother. It seems like he has the power to affect people's lives somehow, too. Because towards the end of the movie, Ernie Hudson wants a cigarette. He told him once before, stop smoking them, they'll kill you. He puts it in his mouth and lights it and then gives it to him. And he's like, ugh, yuck. And he's like, I think I'm quit. As long as I live, as long as I live from this bullet wound that I have, I'm going to quit smoking. So it's like, because he touched it with his mouth, he tainted it or whatever, and now he doesn't like the taste of cigarettes anymore. And she doesn't like the feeling of heroin anymore. Or
morphine.
Morphine, yeah. So he has some sort of power like that to make people's lives better, too. None of the powers are explained in any kind of detail, and they don't seem super consistent. So that's another thing of the movie, too. At one point, the main bad guy and his half-sister kiss, just to make sure that that he's totally evil.
No. When we first met him, they were in bed with the lady.
Oh, yeah, and they killed her. Yeah.
So, I think they're doing more than kissing.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But, and he's got a big pile of cocaine. It's all the cliches of this guy's a bad guy kind of thing. But anyway, so she says to him, it's the Crow. I don't know how they know this, but they know that it's the Crow that gives him his power. And if you kill the Crow, he won't have his power anymore.
Because she's all, into supernatural stuff. They were doing, some kind of ritual earlier.
Yeah, none of that's gone into or explained in any kind of detail. You don't know what's going on there.
She's basically a witch, I guess?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. She was burning something in a goblet at one point and said, forces are aligning against you, which sounds like astrology again to me. It's just like, oh, I'm a criminal overlord in this city and forces are conspiring against me. That's a shock.
Right.
But anyway, so they capture the Crow at one point and then he can be hurt, but then they don't kill the Crow. and I don't really think they hurt the crow, and then the crow kills her. The crow
pecks her eyes out.
The crow, pecks her eyes out, and then she falls to her death. A lot of people fall to their death. I think they had that effect down, so they wanted to use it as much as they could. But anyway, she falls to her death, and the crow's free, but yet he still can be hurt. I don't know if it's because it's close to midnight, and maybe once Halloween comes, he can't be the crow anymore. He's got to go back to being dead. I don't know, because they don't explain any of this stuff. So he gets all the bad guys, and then he goes back to the graveyard, and then he sees his fiance, and she kind of like, she touches his face and says, yeah, you did good. You killed them all. Way to go. Let's go to heaven or whatever. I don't know. Because they don't explain that either. If there is an afterlife or not. Did he just come back? Did he see anything? Was he in hell? Was he in purgatory? Was he in... Obviously, he wasn't in heaven. Because if he was in heaven with her, then why revenge? Who cares?
Yeah.
So I don't get any of it. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. Is not explained very well, and there's no emotional core to the movie. It was a bad movie.
Well, I gotta tell you, I went in liking this movie, and I think you just convinced me not to like it anymore. But, I mean, I did enjoy it. I thought that it was kind of, like, sweet and romantic that he came back to avenge her, and, I don't know, I thought it was, I like action more than you. So, the fight scenes, I think, I kind of enjoyed.
But there were few and far between of the fight scenes, really. There wasn't a ton of action in this action movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was good. I can't explain it. I enjoyed it. I walked out of the theater feeling like, hey, I've just watched an enjoyable film. And now I feel like dumb for that.
You don't have to feel dumb. Everyone has different opinions on things. You can like the movie just because I didn't like it.
But I can't explain why I like the movie. I mean, I like Brandon Lee.
Yeah, rest in peace.
It's sad.
It is sad. His dad died too, same thing.
Isn't that weird?
The curse of the Lees.
Yeah, so apparently he was killed because they put a fake, like a real bullet in a gun with no gunpowder. And then...
So it wouldn't fire.
Right. But then somebody accidentally knocked it in the chamber. They didn't know it was still in there. And then they put blanks in, which have twice the amount of gunpowder as a normal bullet.
Yeah, but they don't actually fire.
But because there was a real bullet in the chamber, and they've now added gunpowder with the blanks, it fired.
Yeah, and killed him.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very weird.
Yeah, so poor Brandon Lee. I wish you could have gone on to make better movies, but you didn't, so... Sad stuff. That's sadder than the movie.
Yeah. Especially because his dad died in a similar way.
Right.
His poor mom.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's The Crow. So, I don't know. If you like dark love stories... I mean, I can't even recommend it if you like dark love stories because it wasn't much of a love story to me. But, I don't know. If it hits you like it hit Carol, you'll like it. If it doesn't, you won't. Basically, I don't know how to describe it other than that. But we will end this episode, as we end every episode, with our blockbuster pick of the week. Carol, this week, what are you recommending from Blockbuster?
The movie My Life. It's another sad one, but it's really good and well done.
Is it based on the Billy Joel song?
No. So, this guy...
Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close.
Yeah. Yeah, babe. So...
I used to watch Bosom Buddies.
I mean, I love your singing voice, but now's not the time. Anyway.
My Life.
So
Michael Keaton.
His girlfriend or his wife, I don't know, it's
Nicole
been
Kidman.
a while, is pregnant with his baby when he finds out that he's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And so he's making all these videos for his baby so that they'll know him when they grow up.
Yeah, pretty sad.
Yeah.
Sad stuff. So if you want to cry, My Life. If you want to laugh, go with my pick, which is Wayne's World 2, which we've talked about a little bit, and I know you hate.
Yep.
But I love it. I think it's hilarious. I think maybe better than the first Wayne's World. At least as good. Excellent, excellent comedy film. You know what this is about. You know, it's Wayne and Garth. Their continuing adventures. It's a very good film. Kim Basinger's in it.
It's terrible.
She can't explain why, though.
You're a jackass.
I found more emotional connection to Wayne's World 2 than I did to The Crow. So, those are the movies out at Blockbuster this week. Go rent them. You will not be disappointed. But that is our show for the week. As always, tell a friend about our show. Tell them, give them the tapes. Let them listen to it. See if they want more. And send us money, I guess. I don't know. What do you want? What do you want them to do?
No, I mean, they can, like I said, just throw a couple bucks in my locker to help pay for the tapes. That's all we want.
Yeah. Just a little help with those tapes.
And love notes.
Tapes aren't expensive. Love note? What are you talking about?
Not love notes, but I mean, just, let us know you like the show.
Oh, yeah, okay, you can do that. No love notes to my girlfriend, though.
Or to my boyfriend.
Yeah.
He is a sexy, sexy man.
Unless you're Terry Hatcher.
Hey.
All right, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.